Andrew Barr here. In this video, I'm going to tell you a story about when I had a massive Spanish listening comprehension failure in Valencia. Cue the music. So when I was in Valencia, I went to the Ciudad de las Artes y las Ciencias, the Arts and Science Museum in Valencia. I was there with a good friend of mine who couldn't speak a word of Spanish. We went up to the counter at the front desk, and the lady looked back at us and said, "Dos? Do we want 2 tickets?" I said, "Sí." She then looked at me and said, "¿De dónde sois?" I then paused awkwardly and just looked at her. And looked back. I knew exactly what "de donde" meant. And at the time, I was thinking to myself, sois. I'd heard this word before. As I looked at her awkwardly in that pause, through my head I was going, "De donde sois? De donde sois?" I know this. I absolutely know this. Now, after about an awkward 20 seconds, she looked at me and said, "Where from? Where from?" Now, obviously, she really couldn't speak much English, but that was enough for me to know, oh, of course, she's asking me where I was from. Now, I'd heard the expression, "de donde eres," about 1,000 times. But when I heard "de donde sois," it threw me. Now, there are 2 morals to be taken away from this story. One is context tells you a huge amount about what is going to be said. I just walked up to a desk to buy 2 tickets to a museum. She said, "de donde." It didn't really matter what was coming next. I should have picked up straight away, even if I didn't understand the word exactly. She was going to ask where I was from, what my name was, how old I was. You know, it was obviously for a record that she had to put into her system. But at the time, I was just so flabbergasted, I couldn't work out what the word sois meant. I just paused and froze. The second lesson is that in listening comprehension, they talk about listening vocabulary, which is you spend a lot of time listening and try and develop the depth and breadth of the words that you understand in that language by listening to more and more words. Well, the lesson for today was that there's actually a listening grammar that comes in as well. Now, I'd heard eres, which is the you form of ser, many times, but sois is a word that I hadn't heard before. So when you're next looking to practice your listening comprehension, have a think about the multiple verb conjugations and how that verb would sound in the different conjugations, particularly the vosotros form, because if you're in Spain, they use this a lot more frequently, and it isn't something that you hear as much. So it's good to have a look at this one. So how good is your listening comprehension? I'll put a link below this video to a listening comprehension course called the Fluent Spanish Listening. But otherwise, I'd like to hear from you. Did you find this tip helpful? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear what you think. I'm Andrew Barr. This is realfastspanish.com.